Hello everybody, so we are going to be picking up where we left off from our last DAX video, picking up on that same file, and today we're just going to be going over how to put those same very basic measures that we've created so far in our videos from before into some amazing visualizations, right? So we're just going to quickly go through how we can take this file right here and make it look like this. So it should only take a quick 10-20 minutes to be able to take it from this with our basic measures from our other videos and make it into a report that gives us some insightful details and visualizations like I just showed you. So all right, so once we've got, let's go ahead and create a new page. And once we've got a new page created, we're going to start putting some stuff on the page, right? So let's just start, what I usually start with is I usually just start with throwing the cards on the page. So really just like the basics of the basics and then put a time visual. Almost all of the pages I put on the, I have a report out on, I have some type of context, some type of time context to show growth rates, to show if something's going down or up, to show trends over time, right? So that's usually where I start, just the basic stuff and then some time context stuff, and then fill in the gaps with kind of whatever space I have left, and then with like a table, some other visuals, we'll go from there. All right, so let's start out with the cards. Power BI just released a new card. There is a card new. That's the one we're going to be using. It's pretty nice. So we're going to go ahead and drop this onto the page. Just go ahead and click it. When it opens up, what we are going to throw in here are our kind of like the ratio metrics. So we're going to throw in a couple of our main base metrics, so like our total values, our total orders, our total dollars, our total clients that purchased. Those are going to be our main values that, of course, everybody is going to want to see how many of those dollars and orders we made within any time period. And then also some very basic ratios to go along with those base values, right? So let's go ahead and throw on our total order value. Let's throw on count of orders. Let's get the count of clients, average daily, average monthly, and average order value. Where are you at? And you. Great. All right, so we can see that when we initially put the cards on this visual, it doesn't look too great, right? So let's go ahead and visualize. Let's go ahead and set the formatting of that. So go ahead on the visual pane. This is the visualization pane. Let's go ahead and click on the Format Visuals. And on the cards, we are going to, sorry, it's on the callout. On the callout section, this is a new card, so getting used to it, we are going to change some of these settings, right? So typically, I will change the size of this. The card size doesn't need to be that large. We can go ahead and let's remove the display unit. So I don't want any units to be rounded or anything like that. Let's go ahead and put stuff in the middle. Let's remove our spacing, so this vertical spacing between the header and the information. We can minimize that a bit. All right, great. So we're looking a bit better already, right? And now let's shorten our names up. Average daily orders. So it's very basic stuff, just making sure it looks good, right? So the focus of this video is just making sure our stuff looks good on our report. That's what we want to do, is do a very nice and appealing visual report for the report viewers and the end users, so they don't need to worry about exporting stuff. They got all the data they need on the page. So it's very important to work on those nitty-gritty things to make sure that the report viewer is completely as good as it can be for the end viewer. All right, and then this one. So let's try to fix this rounding. So this value over here, and also if you hover over them, you can see we can't see the names of anything, right? So let's go ahead and turn the tooltips on. So now we can hover over and see the actual full value. But it gets cut off. We don't want it to get cut off because that just looks bad, right? So let's go into, again, in the Format Visual pane, we're going to change the callout of this specific item. So if we, under the series, we're going to choose the card that we want to format. So we're formatting this card. And what we're going to do is we're going to change the display units to, let's go millions. And there we go. So now we're going to go, and let's go maybe 2 decimals on there as well. And then let's go back to all, shrink down the size a bit more, get everything showing. Perfect. So there we go. So now we've got our cards formatted nicely. perfect start, right? Perfect first visual to throw on the page. After this, let's throw on that time visual that I was talking about. So I always use zoom visuals. Zoom visuals deserve a whole separate video for themselves. I will go into it separately on another video that I have on the page later on. If you want to test them out, go ahead and download them. You can get them from the App Store. It's a custom visual. Just go to Get More Visuals. They're the Zoom Charts visuals. They're incredible. I use them on all of my reporting. So again, we want our time series, so our category is going to be our month and year. And then let's go ahead and throw on some of our growth rate stuff. So some stuff related to clients. Let's go with new clients, count of clients, so we can see how many clients are new versus our total clients. Let's go over here with new clients. And then count of clients. Great. And on top of that, let's throw in our growth rates being new client growth rate and then order growth rate. So let's go month over month orders. Let's throw that in U. I want U to be down there. All right. Now, once we've got all of the items on the visual, on the Zoom chart that we want on here, now let's go ahead and do some formatting, right? It looks horrible. So let's go again over to our Format button. And once we're on here, what we are going to be changing is our series configurations. So first of all, let's go ahead and open up each of our series. And so the series that we have on one axis, so those series that are not a percentage, right? These two, 1 and 2. These series we want on one axis, and then the percentages we want on another axis so that everything can show nice and neat. So let's go ahead and go to our axes. Turn you on. We want the secondary to be a percentage because we're making our percentages on the secondary. So on series 3 and series 4. We will make our value access the secondary, and you can see everything's kind of getting out of whack, right? That is because our secondary and primary axes are not aligned. So there we go. Let's go ahead and align those guys. So now we are all good with our axes configurations. And then going back down to our percentages, we don't want them as a column because that's not really nice for showing growth rates. Let's switch these growth rates to a line. So there we go. So now we've got it, boom, nice and pretty quickly like that. And then let's go something else, maybe show some values for our new clients so we don't have to hover over to see. We don't really need to see the values for the growth rates because we know upwards is good, down is bad. New clients, we do want to see how many they've came in though. So on our new clients and client counts, we're going to customize the series values. So open those guys up, and there's going to be a new option that pops in. We're going to do here is, we should be good actually by default. Let me throw a year slicer on here so we can see how it looks. There we go. So now you can see that the formatting has improved. So we've got a 13 for our new clients. Count of clients is over there. So you can see both of those values are now showing on the visual. Let's go ahead and make you a slicer, make you a drop down, and go with a year. Okay, great. Now we've got a year selected. I'll go through the slicers in a minute, but when we got a year selected, we can see that our data already looks nice and clean, right? All right, so now that we've got this on here, let's go ahead and what else do we want to do here? Let's remove some of this junk on here. So on this toolbar, we don't need the zoom out or the log button, but we do want the back button. Let's throw on the week and year into this. So now what the zoom charts will do is, so we've got the week and month and year on top with the week and year underneath. So if we click on the month, we will go in and see the week, right? So we can see exactly who is coming in on the weeks and all of that. So there are no new clients coming in on some weeks, and so on and so forth, right? So you can quickly drill down, as opposed to with the Microsoft visuals, it's a bit harder. And again, let's go with quarter and year on top. So again, you can just see kind of how you can drill down nice and quickly. If that's too much drilling down, we don't need to go that deep, but just for kind of demonstration purposes, I am going to keep a couple of layers on here. And again, with the zoom visuals, you can drill down 3 times, push the reset button, and it'll bring you right back up, right? So nice and easy. So that is our time visual. We are all set on our time visual. Let's go ahead and put on a couple of other items. So another thing I like to do is if I do have location data, I love to try to throw on a map visual so that we can throw on some of that location data because it's super powerful and most people usually have never seen their data, especially if you're a smaller or medium-sized organization. Most people have never really seen their data in a map in this type of way, so the visuals that can come with this are very powerful if you have location data. So I do have location data generated here, so I'll kind of just give you a little sample of how this zoom map visual works. So the way that this zoom map visual works is they have a latitude and longitude field. If you have a latitude and longitude, highly recommend you use this visual. It's incredible. So what we're going to post on this visual is we're going to do a number of, what are we going to do? Let's see, let's do the total order value by where the clients are ordering from. So by the client's location, we're going to show how much dollars are coming in from each of those clients. So on this page, we have from the client table, we have the client latitude and longitude, and let's throw on total order value on our value. So now we can see our counts totally change, right? So we go from the client count, which is what we currently have since we're just on the counts of that, and then now we're putting on the total value of the shipments, which goes to now our dollar values. But let's drill down a bit deeper so this doesn't look too clean and nice and neat, right? So let's do a couple more things here. What we also can do with the visuals here on Zoom charts is we can add node settings and change how these node settings work. So you can see how kind of they're broken out and how big everything is, but the main thing we're going to focus on is this pie chart. So when we open up the pie chart, now what we do is we can see that we've broken everything out into little sections on top of the on the outside of each of these little circles. They've got their own little breakout of values. And so what these values are these are the values that are for each client within this range, within that location for that total value. Let's see, we should have the tooltips working here. Yep, so then if you hover over, you can see what those values are for each of them. And then we don't have anything in the name, so it's not providing us any name value. However, instead of giving us a name for a client, let's see, because that's too broken out, let's see the shipping methods and how much our orders are bringing us by shipping method. So if we throw the shipping method into the category section, now we can see that our visual has completely changed from our base, and we can now see that in this location, so in the Northeast, we're having people ship in this section of lat and longitude areas, we're having people ship in air $12 million within our year 2021. And again, when you click on this, it will filter everything else. So of the clients that have shipped air orders within this location, so clients that are from this location, those that have shipped through air, this is how all of their data looks, right? So everything will filter everything, just super quick, super powerful, no complicated measures. Again, it's another video that was 10 minutes on creating these measures. Very easy to do these powerful, insanely powerful, insightful visuals. All right, so once we've got that map visual, that looks great. We don't really need to change anything else on there. Let's go ahead and throw on another visual. I know some people have some strong feelings about donuts and pie charts. I'm a fan of them, so I'm going to go ahead and throw in a donut chart for, let's throw on this for, again, the total order value, but by shipping category. So let's go category and then description. So again, the beautiful thing with Zoom charts is with the categories on top of each other, if you drill into the home appliances, it will go right into the descriptions, right? So we'll have the categories on top, and then we can filter down into those descriptions, and again, all of our other visuals will filter along with that. Let's go ahead and save this state because we don't need to keep refreshing all the way over there. All right, and then so on this donut chart, one of the main things I usually do on this guy is I usually keep enable others on. That is a great feature on this donut, but what I do is change the inside of the radius so it just looks a bit neater here. And another great thing that I do with these donuts is I usually put some data on the tooltip content as well. So when you hover over these values, you can see that it's just home appliance values and it's total, right? But I also want to know some other things. Like I want to know how many orders were made or what the average value of those orders were. So what I can do is also throw in the tooltip content, the count of the orders, and the average value of those orders. So again, when I hover over these values now, I can see that home appliances made 50 million in order value, and we had a total number of orders of 20K with the average order value being 2K, right? So we can, again, just super powerful with throwing stuff on the page. Detail labels, let's go ahead and throw on, let's do all detail values so we can just see how much dollars we're bringing in. Let's go value decimals to 2. That looks a bit messy. Let's go 1. Yeah, that's fine. Again, just able to clean it up real quick, real easy. Let's go ahead and put on a couple more of these settings here. Let's go to the back button. Great. And let's fix this title a bit so it doesn't look so messy. Order value by order category. Let's go ahead and center that as well. Alrighty, wonderful. Let's turn the legend on this one as well so we can quickly see what everything is. Let's go ahead and move you over a bit. Let's get you formatted so you look better. Font size, perfect. Just one click and it's fixed. Great. What else do we want to add here? So let's go ahead and get some slicers added onto the page. And then we can decide what else we want in this white space. So a couple of the slicers that I will use on this page is, let's do, of course, we'll have a date slicer. So let's go with a year. Let's go with month and year underneath this. So if we want to, let's push you out a bit. Great. Let's go with date selection. Wonderful. All right, so now we can select specific months or years. And now all of our data, again, will adjust. Let's just keep it there for now. Let's go with some employee metrics on our slicers as well here. So let's go with territory, employee name, and director. Let's throw these slicers on. So again, just dragging and dropping onto the page so an automatic visual is created. Flipping all those visuals to the slicer visual and then formatting as we go. Wonderful. All right, so now we've got our slicers that we want. Don't think we need any more than this on here. Let's go ahead and just organize them a bit over here. You don't need to be so large. Great. All right, now we got our slicers. So now we've got some white space here. What do we want to cover up this white space with? Let's reduce you down a bit, get you formatted better, clear up all of our space here. So let's get everything kind of organized here, how we want stuff on the page, and figure out what we want to put in this white space and fill it up, right? Let's go ahead and make these things a bit larger. Bum, bum, bum. Make sure it matches and lines up for formatting purposes. Wonderful. Probably shrink you down a bit. All right, great. So now that we've got our visuals, the last thing that I like doing is I like to put some type of table. So I'll usually have most of my report covered with visuals, so like we have it right now, but then also there should be a section for just a data table, right? Because people just want to be able to look at the table. Maybe they want to export the data. They're not used to these visualizations, right? So it's also very good practice to just throw on a table that somebody's used to so that people can get into and just look at and know what they're looking at. So be like, oh, okay, these are the numbers I'm used to. This is a table format I'm used to seeing. So the way that we do a table is I always typically use a matrix. It's just more powerful than a standard table. So let's go ahead and format this for our white space. So we're going to want to fill up all of this white space with whatever table we get designed up here, right? So let's go ahead, and we don't have anything for employees yet, right? So let's throw this table as a employee table. How do I type? Okay. So now when we open up, we're going to get the employees that are a part of each territory. And again, when you filter stuff, we're going to filter everything, right? So everything's going to filter everything. This is dummy data, so it's not actually North clients. Sorry, ignore the bad data look. But all right, so now what we want to throw on here, let's throw on some items. Let's throw on some of our values. So let's throw on our total order value. So again, we're just kind of going to throw some of those basic measures onto our data just to essentially just to show the measures in a different context so that people can look at things and understand what they're looking at if they don't understand some of the visuals, or they can click through things. Just another way to show the data. So all right, so let's get our total value. Let's show these employees' growth rates. Let's go ahead and create this value. I think total order value last year. Do we have you? Total order value last year. Let's go with year-over-year growth rate. Let's create this guy. Year-over-year growth rate, count of orders last year. Oops. Make you a percentage. Wonderful. What did I do with my growth rate? Why is my growth rate all crazy? Orders. Count of orders. What are we doing? Wait. Count of orders. What? Why is my growth rate so crazy? Count of orders last year. What did I mess up here? All right, we'll get to that one last. I'll fix that one last. I want to keep moving forward. All right, so then let's go with count of orders. So again, just our basic metrics. Count of orders. Let's go with some averages. Average daily orders. Let's go with our who the employees are bringing in some big orders, and then who the employees are working with the new and returning clients. Great, we've got everything on here. Now again, let's go ahead and just get everything adjusted. So one of the biggest things I do with tables is I make sure that that you do not have to scroll. Report users are not going to be scrolling through a table, right? So we do not want them to have to scroll to the end of a table to see their data, because they're just not going to scroll to the left or the right. They're going to look at the report page. If they have to scroll, they're not going to do it. So try to make sure all of your data is on um, in one page view. That's the best way to make sure that your report viewers are going to get the most value out of what they're looking at on their report. All right, so once we've got our table on here, I think we are pretty much ready to go with getting stuff visualized and formatted in a nicer way than just this, right? This looks kind of disjointed, it's hard to follow, but we can easily create that kind of make it look nice. So one of the best ways to do that is go ahead and click on all of your visuals, go to the visualization format, click on General, and in the effects, turn on Visual Border. So on all of the visuals, go ahead and turn on Visual Border. So when that's on, it's just, again, going to give it just a cleaner feel. So all of your stuff just kind of feels like it's easier to follow. You're not looking at just a page with stuff smushed onto it. You're able to look at, oh, okay, here's the table. Now this is the other visual, and it's just a lot nicer on a report reader's eyes. So great, we've got that split up, and then the last little trick that I love to do is throw in a shape, a rectangle. Go to the view, put on your selections, and move that shape all the way down to the bottom, so it's at the back of everything. And then go ahead and make it the full size of the page. So make that new shape that you just added the full size of the page. Give it like a muted tone. Give it, if your company has a specific color, give it your company's colors. Make it your own. Whatever color you kind of want, give it whatever color you want. And then again, what we're going to do is a little trick with all of the visuals, or most of them. We're going to click on the visuals, and so we can see it doesn't really look nice when we changed it like that, right? We've got this kind of white block around our slicers, around some stuff. It looks a bit weird, but we can easily change that. Again, click on those items that look weird. Go to Format Your Visuals, click on the effects, and we're going to move the transparency up to 100. So now we've got the same background as everything else. Where is this going to be? General effects. Let's go there. Right? So it just looks a lot cleaner, a lot nicer on your report. And then so last little step, let's go ahead and just throw in a text card. So let's throw in an insert. Let's insert a text box. And this text box, let's just name it the orders analysis page. So this is going to be our analysis on our orders. Let's go ahead and size it a bit. Again, just formatting some stuff. What size do we want it to be? Too big? Maybe you? Seems fine, right? Cool. All right, so orders analysis, and again, throw this transparency up to 100 so it's got the same background. Put it in the right position, and voila, so there you go. So within 30 minutes, you went from no report to, again, nothing complicated on your measures, very basic measures, to a very insightful report. And actually, one last thing before I let you guys go, on the table, let's do some quick conditional formatting to one of these values. So if you click on one of those values and go to the drop-down, you can click on conditional formatting. Let's do the data bars on our total order value. This one's super easy. Just go ahead and pick a color. We want positive colors to be green. We're not going to have any negatives, but if you did have negatives, be sure to set that to, I don't know, just another color, or red. And we're going to be moving left to right. Go ahead and push OK. So what this is going to do is this is going to format this total order value column. So essentially, it's going to give it a little data bar. From the lowest value is going to be essentially no data, so no green, all the way to the maximum, which is going to be a full green bar. So just again, a nice way to throw some quick visualizations on there. Okay, West is doing the highest, here's our lowest, these guys are kind of in the middle. Easy way to see how people are performing. But great. That's pretty much the first foray into how to throw your very basic DAX measures onto reports. Our next follow-up to this same project file is going to be how we can go about kind of breaking this down into some better navigation. How do we throw some bookmarks on there? What exactly bookmarks are? How we can use some other filters within the report to make some stuff more insightful and visually appealing. But that'll be for next time. So hopefully this was helpful for you on getting how you can get stuff visualized and effectively looking on a page so people can get insightful value from it. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Hope you enjoy. Bye.